Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Essie and Jesse podcast. This is not going to be a normal episode. This is not going to be episode 9. I'm going to put this as episode 11 because I have 2 episodes I need to record in between this. But we're here with my bestie. What is your name? Do you want to put your actual name?
They call me El Long Dong Silver.
Okay, so that's going to be your name, I guess. That's how you're going to have to introduce yourself from now on.
El Long Dong Silver. El Long Donger Silver.
This is my first ever interview, guys, so if it's terrible, not terrible in the sense of Long Don Silver? I can't even say it. He's not terrible, it's me being a terrible host. But yes, I only have one microphone, so I hope you can hear the both of us. What should I ask?
I don't know, this is your show, man.
Here's our groupie, look. Hey, Tolkien, so what question would you like to ask first? Okay, or that's fine. Okay. Put up some of his idols on the wall. He has the guy over there putting up the rad sign.
That is not. That is.
As you can see. He said everything's so rad, man. I'm from California. And what you guys can't see is there's Batman and a ton of Star Wars stuff. Anyway, it's been about 7 minutes of us bullshitting, so we're gonna get to the real interview now. So, this is my partner. You might see him popping in on videos occasionally now.
You can just call me Jay.
Okay. This is Jay.
That's my name, so.
Yeah. This is Jay. Jay and Jess. Yeah. I would interview him about some of his escapades that he had. Interesting things he did that I did not do, because I'm a boring person who has mostly lived in New Jersey their whole life. And then Tolkien, if you start scratching that, I am going to go over there and end the interview and put my foot in your behind. So I'm interviewing him because Jay is a special type of person. He's been around a lot. He's been to, 38 of the 50 states, correct?
That's right.
Yes. And he has a lot of interesting adventures that he could talk about, but I just want him to talk a little bit about why he has been to so many places and how long he mostly moved around before getting to where he is now.
Doc, right here, it works?
Yeah, you can, if you want
to. You can hear me?
Or you can put it here. Why did you move around so much?
Well, my mother and my father were both in the United States Navy. My father for 26 years and my mother for, I believe, 11 to 11 and a half. So we had to move a lot. Got stationed base to base. Sometimes we live on bases. Sometimes we live off bases. Originally, I was born in San Diego, California, Balboa. It's a hospital over there. But yeah. After that, every year, every 2 years, sometimes it'd be at the longest like 3 years, and we'd move. So technically, living here is the longest I've ever stayed in one's place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is the longest I've ever
Not even California?
Well, technically, if we're talking in California,
you went back a couple
times, we had to, sometimes we'd get stationed over in Washington, and then we'd get sent back to Cali, and then they'd send us to Mississippi, and then to Rhode Island, and then back to and then we'd cycle. But even then, the times that I'd go to and back and from California, I'd always live in a different area. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I was born in San Diego. When I left the first time and came back, I think we ended up in the Tri-City area, which is Vista, Oceanside, and I believe Carlsbad, if I'm not mistaken, or Escondido. I cannot recall the last one, but yes. What
is the first move that you remember, for, you moved multiple places. What is, the first move that you remember, what age?
No, I really couldn't tell you. If I'm thinking back, you obviously know I got some parts of my memories that don't exist anymore, locked away. But if I'm thinking back right now, what I can recall, the first one that I can remember, we were young, We had, well, every time we moved, my parents, okay, they don't believe that we weren't very rich at the time. We were quite poor, so they didn't believe in hiring like workers. They
You
had
guys did all the
they
moving.
yeah we they had 5 children, so why would they need workers? We were their workers, so we would move that stuff, and I remember that. That is what I remember about moving. Oh, and eating like pizza and Taco Bell, like that was because we didn't have no plates or dishes, which was a treat for us because
So,
we didn't
yeah.
really get stuff like that all that. That was like birthday stuff to get a. Think about that. That was when I was younger. That was like a thing. But people now, pizza's just like everyone has pizza every other week, and it's
Yeah.
like, bro, you wanted a pizza back then. You ain't getting no goddamn pizza. You got pizza money? No, hell no, you ain't got no
That's
pizza
like
money.
when I was younger, a treat was like, going to 7-Eleven and getting a Slurpee, and now as an adult, I'm just like, man, this is like chump change. Back then, it felt
was
very
everything.
expensive, yeah.
I agree with that, and times change, prices change as well, and then also our mindsets. As opposed back then, we didn't have steady income. Now, as an adult, we are employed and have steady income. So
Yeah. Something that I guess we should, I don't know, clarify, I guess, right now, is he mentioned that there's some memories that he can't really come across. And I don't know if you want to, like, explain briefly. You don't have to go into the whole thing if you don't want to. But mostly he had something happen that he can't remember certain things, or they're very, like, piecey. Is that the word? Pieced together?
well, I'll summarize it.
Yeah.
When I was younger, about 12 years old, I was in Mexico visiting my abuelita. Oh yeah, I'm half Mexican, believe it or not. My mama, she's full Mexican, very light skinned, but she sounds nothing like me. Anyway, oh yeah, my brother dropped a giant, like I believe it was a queen-sized inflatable mattress on top of my head. And okay, when you're thinking inflatable mattress,
In like the box
compact,
size, not the inflated
it wasn't
size.
inflated. So you hit someone with an inflated one, they're gonna bounce back, and it's not really gonna hurt. But when you condense these things back then, those ones, the motors weren't tiny and they weren't like separate. Now they separate them. Or this thing was built into the fabric, and it was like maybe like that big, and I'd have to, if I had to estimate it, 15, 20 pounds. And where I was sleeping, I had a thing over me. My brother thought it was a joke, dropped it, thinking he was dropping it on my legs or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Boom, head injury, brain damage. But I made like pretty much like a 87% recovery.
And that was when they had to bring you over the border, right?
Yeah, I was still in Mexico at the time. And I was unconscious, and I didn't have like a passport or anything like that. As far as I remember, I think back then all we needed was the military IDs.
You were essentially like a diplomat at that point, going across the border.
And then they helicoptered me after they found out I wasn't like an illegal trying to get like smuggled in. They helicoptered me to, I believe it was called St. Ray's Children's. What was it called? Children's something. St. Ray's Children's something. I go to 2 hospitals. One of the hospital, I was like, that's when I started like losing eyesight and having these horrible migraines. And then when my eyesight was dimming, it was like it seemed like it was narrowing. It was getting further and then darker, and then eventually I was awake talking. Yeah, and then I remember a couple days later I woke up and I was like, oh man.
You're like, I'm back in the USA.
I don't remember what or where anything was really. It took like a couple of days to get like able to be functional, but you have to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to use the restroom, stuff like that. But it happens. And like I said, I made like an 87% recovery. There's like 17% of my memory that still eludes me, and you even have noticed that in times where I'll forget something, but then you say like a phrase and it's like, oh shit, yeah.
So for him, it's not
his memory issues, they're not like normally day-to-day things. Like, it's not like he is like forgetful, I guess. It's more so there's certain memories that like they're like kind of blocked out, and then sometimes when I will say something, someone else will say something, or he's like watching something, it'll just bring back a spark of that memory, and then he's like, oh yeah, this and this happened.
Smells.
Essentially.
Smells too, yeah.
Yeah.
Smells, tastes, sometimes like feeling, like for instance, you know that chicken goosebumpy feeling you get?
Mm-hmm.
So like I still feel that, but it feels different like after I had the head injury. Like I can't explain it, but it's like a lesser feeling, but then at the same time, like I can feel when my hairs are. I don't know. I just remember goosebumps didn't used to feel like how when I get them now.
It was more of a sensation before.
It's different, hard to explain. Like it's more and less. So again, like I can when I get goosebumps, and then you get that little shiver, like that feels like that's more intensified. But the actual like stimulated feeling that most people would get, I don't really feel that. But I can feel the hairs, and I can see them like standing up.
Now I wonder if that's also though because of the nerve damage.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going on a different tangent. I know I was asking him about like places he's been and stuff like that, but he does have nerve damage too from another incident.
Multiple incidents.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, the brain injury was like the first time like I had gotten like throughout my whole body. Like I can still feel, but everything's not as it once was. It's dull.
Around so much, you've probably been to various schools. What was it like transitioning from school to school? Was it difficult? Like, how was it making friends? How was it being the new kid over and over again? And then I guess more into that would be, because your parents were gone so much, did that make moving schools more difficult, I guess? I don't know how to word it, because I know your parents were there sometimes, but then you were with other family members other times.
Well, I'd have to say it was sad because you always have to abandon your friends, and majority of the time, you never see them again. Like, it just depended. There have been times where I have reconnected with people from, the Navy Brat days.
You have a ton of people on Facebook that you
That
talk to,
too,
yeah.
but again, I still, I'll probably never physically hang out with them again. Yeah. Like, sometimes I'll call them and stuff, but that's the hardest part. But, like, going to a new school, it was never hard for me because I've always been very popular, social. I like to have confidence. It's nice to have confidence. I mean, that's how you make a lot of friends. Yeah. If you aren't confident, if you're just going to be a shy, weirdo new kid, that's the kid that gets bullied and beat the shit out of.
Do you think, though, that you gain that confidence more because you were always the new kid, so you always felt like you needed to be confident so that you didn't get, like, walked on or bullied? Or do you think that's just how you are? Like, that's your personality?
Well, how I grew up was a very big part of how my personality turned out. And, again, I was very sociable. So people always tended to like me because I'm pretty comedic. I make funny jokes. I was also, people saw me more as an entertainer, if anything, or a bully, pretty much. Like, I'd make fun of kids and everyone thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. Obviously, in retrospect, I see that as horrible, but, I mean, I did it, and I'm ashamed of it, but I don't really regret all of it because it was part of growing up at that time. Nowadays, you tell someone half the shit I did, they'd be like, "You're a fucking monster." The hardest part, though, was getting along with the guys at first because the guys always seemed to dislike me and my brothers and stuff because we'd always come from California, and that always, I don't know why, but girls they'd be like, "He's from California," and they always would have crushes, and they would have questions. They were curious, because these never gone anywhere in their whole life. They just would be from wherever they're from, and
Me, I'm like, California man. No, I'm kidding.
No, but yeah, that's how it was. And
I was like, over here, like, California.
yeah, and then a lot of the guys, they didn't like us because, like, you know, the girls were like, oh, he's from Cali. The guys would be like, oh, look at Cali over here, Hollywood, and they, you know, that's another thing. You had to learn how to fight, and it caused a lot of like fist fights or just physical arguments or shoving matches or throwing shit at people. Like it really depended to the degree of what the person had said or done towards me. Like for instance, one time when I went to a school, ninth grade at Rosa Scott in Mississippi. Remember, this kid had spit on the back of my jacket, and I don't play that shit.
The ultimate disrespect. I think everybody kind of agrees. At
top
least
5.
The people that I've been friends with. Yeah. If you spit on somebody, that's not nice at all. This
was a gift from my father. It was his Eisenhower Navy jacket, and I loved it. It was brand new. Well, brand new to me, and I had just gotten it, and I was wearing it. First day I got there, it spit on me, and I remember his name. And I doubt he'll ever watch this, but if you are,
Jay is calling you out, okay? So if you watch my podcast, if you're one of the 200 and, 85 people?
To this day, I'd still kid up. His name is Jake Adkins. I put the fear of God into that boy that day. After he spat on me, I looked right behind me, and I was viewing, you know, because it was during class, like going to different classes. So I'm viewing around, looking for someone smiling, laughing, or looking back, like suspicious. I seen him doing just that, but he's moving quick. He's getting through people, like shuffling through the crowd to get away from me. I started bolting, darting, pushing through people. I got a hold of him, and I dragged him into the bathroom. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, like, obscenities and, like, you crazy, you think you are, you don't even know, you don't know me, bro. And I just remember the look in his eye. The coaches are the ones that saved his life. Had those 2 coaches not come in, I was still going to beat him up afterwards. But I didn't get the chance to because the ROTC coach came in, and then the regular weight coach came in. Well, let me rephrase that. So, they were both coaches of the football team, and then halftime one would do weightlifting class, and then during school hours the other one would do the ROTC class. Those 2 came in and saved his ass because they had heard me shouting, like, I'm going to f you up, you better, like, clean, like I'm snapping at them, I'm pushing them, I still have them in my hands too. And they came in and they're like, whoa, what's going on? And that's when, you know, he had gotten done right as they came in, and I told them, pat dry it. In front of them. They watched me do it. I didn't stop. I looked at them, and then I looked back at him, and I said, pat dry it. Pat dry it. I just kept saying, dry it. And he kept doing it. And then after that, he said, what's going on in here? What's going on here? And I just looked at him, and I said, nothing. And I walked right out. I looked at Jake, too, and I said, nothing. He said, nothing. And then I left. Nothing ever happened.
I feel like some of your mannerisms, like that stuff, when you're explaining it, I can understand why you did some of it, because I feel like you're raised by military parents.
Yeah.
So, like, that is, like, what is normal. Like, you know how they are in the military. I mean, anybody that's been around not only military people, men and women, but high-ranking officials, they speak differently, and they can speak that way because they have the authority to speak that way. And you already said your mom and dad were in for, I believe it was 11 with your mom, and 26 with your dad. So it's like, that's normal, I guess.
Not really. My mom did not like me getting into fights. My dad, he didn't really care, but because of my mom, he had to pretend like, oh, you're gonna get in trouble. But in reality, he'd be like, did you win? Like, he'd ask you shit like that. Why did you do it? Did you do it for a reason? If I had a good reason, he wouldn't really be mad at me. We'd have to pretend, like, yeah, I'd have to go to my room and pretend like I'm grounded, which technically I was, but I knew my pops wasn't actually upset. It was more my mom didn't like fighting. She didn't like curse. She still don't like none of that stuff, which I get it. She was raised a little bit differently, I guess. I mean, I don't know. But
when you have three, when you have, sorry, four, when you have four, what's the word, sons, I lost my train of thought for a minute. It's kind of like a given, though, that all of that stuff she's not gonna like, because that's how men are. I don't know, most men I've met are cussing and, you know, fighting when they're younger, and that's how my dad was, and that's how other...
I get why she did what she did. You know how she would do things, but at the same time, it was kind of like, you know, a buzzkill. As a kid, you don't want to be told, no, you can't watch this funny movie because it curses, or which wasn't really the case, because my dad and my grandpa would always show us, like, by the time, that's like my earliest memories is watching like Friday the 13th as like a little boy, like at my earliest memories was shit like that I can still remember. And I don't know, that right there, you know, I feel like it's okay to be shown stuff like that, because you're going to learn sooner or later, and it might as well be in the comfort of your home where you're safe. You're, depending on the time, you know, my dad would be in the room, or my grandpa, or, you know, we'd all be watching the film, and I feel like that helps children, you know, mature a bit. And people say, oh, kids stay kids as long as they can. It's like, in all reality, yeah, that's good and all, but if a kid is too innocent, then they become gullible, they become weak, they become a target for people like predators and God knows what else, getting, you know, persuaded to do something bad.
I do think it depends on the child, too. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. There are some children that can tolerate it and, like, understand, like, what you're saying. And then there's other people that just, like, completely destroy them. During these times, when you would go home and stuff like that would happen, were your parents there, or were you with another family member? Like, did you get direct, like, for instance, if you did something wrong at school, did you directly receive the consequences, like, from your parents?
Hell yeah.
Did they...
Hell yeah.
They would be there? Because I know you said that they weren't there all the time.
Yeah, well, when they were, like, for instance, if they were deployed, sometimes we had to stay with aunts, my grandparents, my grandma. It really depended. But if, let's say, they weren't deployed at the time and I got in trouble at school, they would beat us when we got home, no doubt.
Typical 90s family.
They, like I told you before, they used to have this chopping board that was like, I don't know, like that big, maybe like that wide, had a little, like, handle, and it had a little hole that they would hang it on this nail that was on the wall, and that was our punishment thing for a while until they broke it on my ass one day. Forget that, man. That fun hurt. But, yeah, we were bad kids, though. We did bad things. I love my parents as much as horrible shit they did. But then again, I was pretty bad. Like, so was Alex. So was mostly all of my siblings. All did terrible things at one point or another.
Oh, that leads me into my next question. So I am the oldest, but I only have one sibling. So it's not really like I'm the oldest, but, you know, I have younger siblings. Whereas you have 4 other siblings, and you're the youngest of 5. So that dynamic, I can't imagine, because I am the oldest, like I said, and I only have one sibling. How was that dynamic growing up? Like, did you
get beat up a lot?
Like in school, I think you said before your other brother, like, kind of had a reputation, and then that kind of bled into how you were treated, I guess. So stuff like that. Did your family members, like, did that have an effect, like, when you went to school, or like I don't know how to describe it, I guess.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. That totally affected it. My brother is only like a year older, so he was a grade ahead of me. So, like, schools that we would attend, let's say we stayed in a state for 2 years, right? And sometimes, like, I would just be moving from, like, let's say elementary to middle, and then, or middle to high school. Sometimes Alex would have been there prior to me the year before. knew Alex, so they would immediately be like, "Yeah, you're bad too, aren't you?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, but you shouldn't." I thought that was wrong that they'd always just assume I was going to do something bad.
It's odd for me to like, because you're like the reputation like precedes you. Whereas me, I was a very nice child, and then they got my sister, and then they were like, "Oh no, this girl is not at all like her sister. She's not awful, but my sister was a bad kid." I don't want you to go off on a tangent. I don't want that on my channel. We're kind of PG here, even though he said the F word like 90 times already. No, I wanted to ask you how. Okay, first question is, how did your parents feel? Because I have my own answer for this that I could say, but I'm saying like, how did your parents feel about dating? Was there a specific age that you had to be? Did they not care? Or like if you brought somebody home, would they be like, "No, the people can't be here," like typical Spanish, household? And then also I wanted to ask, how, because we've discussed this a little bit before, how moving, affected your dating life. Not really having maybe a long-term relationship, or I can't speak, relationship, really until like we got together, I guess, right?
Yeah, there was one prior. The longest it lasted, I believe, was 9 months, 9.5 months, something like that. But yeah, it was pretty lame. I didn't like it a lot because my parents. Okay, for one, they didn't care ever. They never said you can't have a girlfriend, but like. For instance, it took a while for them to be like okay with me having like females over. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had my first kiss, when I was like 5. So
oh yeah, See, most people don't count that stuff though.
I count that because I knew exactly what I wanted and what I was doing. For a 5-year-old, I was pretty well minded for a 5. I knew everything than most people would. Took them till they were like.
The
8 or 9.
Stuff in like sexual education class, you probably.
I already knew it. Okay. I knew it all.
And now, is this because you had older brothers, or?
I had brothers, sister. I had watched so many films.
Something we didn't say here is that what is your oldest brother? Like, what is their age? Like the oldest one, just the oldest one.
Ronnie is.
Or like, how far apart in age are you? Because that's what I was gonna say.
It's like 10, 11, 12, like 12 years apart.
Yeah,
he's like 30, close to 40 now.
That's what I was going to say. Like, for me, I can't imagine thinking of all of that stuff at such a young age. Ironically, after what I've been through, that's a different tangent. But, like, with you, though, at that age, knowing about that stuff, and your brother is 12 years older than you, your oldest brother, it makes sense. So...
Well, again,
I just wanted to point that out.
We were exposed to films with this knowledge, and brothers.
You mentioned Friday the 13th, like, yeah.
Brothers, uncles that would, get drunk.
I was gonna say get drunk and just talk at parties.
I think that kids should be having, but for them to be dating, I don't see the problem. As if they're a friend, that's just a friend in my mind. I see it like if they kiss, for instance, if my child were to kiss a girl and he was like a little kid, I wouldn't think anything of it. I'd be like, that's a little boy kissing a little girl. It's what they like each other. Who cares?
My sibling too, like stuff like that. I remember she had like a little boyfriend, and they'd like kiss each other on the cheek or whatever, and stuff like that. I understand, but the whole, like, I'm talking about other stuff, like, and even just, like, they can be friends and they can say they're boyfriends, but if it was some serious, like, relationship and they're that young, I think that's too much of an adult concept for children.
I don't.
Like, I think that you should be well into, like, 13 or 14 to have an actual relationship and call it dating.
Well, that is a modern way of thinking.
I'm a very conservative person when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, me and him have already discussed a lot of this, which also, this is a side note, because, like, I'll discuss this at the end, but, like, a lot of stuff has come up, like what we're talking about now, where our views are much different. And it's going to be interesting to see how we navigate that, because I haven't announced it yet on the channel. I do have a video that I'll be posting when this comes out as well, because this won't be coming out for a while. But we're having a baby, and we found out it's a boy. So, yeah, we're super excited. It was very unplanned, but we're very happy. Yes, he's happy as well. But anyhow, stuff like this, stuff like dating and all of this stuff, we've been discussing it very vaguely, having, non-serious conversations about it, just talking, and yeah, it's just quite interesting how different our views are, and it'll be interesting to see when our baby is not a baby anymore, how we handle things. I think we might clash a bit, but I don't know. So, I think it's how we were also both brought up very different, and also us being different genders, of course. Yeah. I'm clearly not a man.
I know.
I'm having a baby. Tolkien stole his chair. He got a new chair. He used to model, and it's not like, I don't know what modeling he did. I'm going to ask him, but I have seen headshots. Okay, so this is legitimate. It's not just like, oh, he's cute, he should be a model. No, he did model for money. For money.
And for free clothing and discounts.
Oh, okay, so for like affiliate,
and also what they called like learning.
Oh,
like, they were saying that it was like to add to my portfolio or whatever.
Oh, okay. So you weren't getting paid. This was so you could become like a paid model.
No. We were getting paid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get paid. But for instance, so it was called it was this company called American Mall Model Search, and
they hand out flyers right at the mall.
Yeah, and you what you do is you give them, like, you have to pay a little bit, and most people think it's like a scam, but like what you're paying for is to get like in there and to see if you have what it takes, and they'll do like a test run, and if you're good, then they'll tell you that, and then they give you like cards, and because it's American Mall Model Search, how do you think they find all those people in the mall? A setup, like the whole portion of the, like one little part of the mall was set up with a stage. There was just a guy there. There were other women sitting at tables. It was all very like nice. This is not like a very big company either. This is like a little ritzy ditzy modeling agency. And again, those guys didn't pay me. What it is they see you, like I was saying, and they see what you can be good for, like how your face is, how you moved on the runway, again, they made you do like a talent
tryout.
Yeah, it's basically a tryout, and if you score good,
right there on the spot.
Yeah, right there on the spot. So if you're good, they'll have you come back, and you'll do some more like run tests, and then once you're good, which I was good, then they give you like little business cards, and then you can call someone that works to make those big. For instance, like you ever see something just hanging from like some strings, and it's a big poster board, and it's like people going like this, back to school, or
like Macy's,
men's,
whatever,
like men's, like you'd strike like a weird like you're like jumping back. This is how I would get paid, because the American Mall Model Search does.
So they're essentially like, when we talk about jobs and stuff, they're like a temp agency.
I was just
that
gonna
finds
say,
you
yeah,
work.
they're basically like a agency, a talent.
Do they get a cut of it?
Huh?
Do they get a cut?
I'm sure they do. They have to,
Yeah.
because they're the ones putting me in contact. So I'm sure they get some kind of commission off it. I don't know. I never really asked them. It was pretty neat. Like, I liked it. This was back when my face was like clearer, and like I didn't like.
Yeah, you looked completely different. Like he did look the model aesthetic, and what I mean by that is if you look at like Hollister, Abercrombie, those typical. No offense to you, because I know you're half Mexican, but white people. He looked like a little white boy. He had his little scarf on in one of the pictures. And the boy band hair. So I think that sold them.
It was popular at the time.
No, that's what I mean. It was very popular at the time. Like, I don't even know if Hollister and Abercrombie exist anymore.
They do. But
their models, that stuff was so messed up. This is going into a different...
I I remember I let it get to my head for a minute. And there's even a photo. Because I was a kid when I was doing this.
And you have them on Facebook somewhere.
I do have them
so
on Facebook. So
if you can find them on Facebook, you can find this picture.
And there was one, it was me and some females.
Uh-huh.
And I had just done this, right? And I'd just, like, gotten out of a shoot. And I'm, like, wearing, like, aviators. I've got, like, my shirt, like, popped and unbuttoned. I'm looking fly, right? And I have these 3 females all just on my arms, right? I showed you this photo one time, and I said, "Do you remember? I boned her, and I boned her."
Are you being serious?
Yeah, dude, I got with all of them that are around my arm.
I was him getting bitches, but he actually got all the bitches.
I did. You already know. Ask any of my friends.
Dude,
like,
again, this is going off track of the interview, but I am so conservative that, like, I will let you guys in on something, which I'll probably tell you in another video. I did not have till I was, like, 18 years old. So
14, baby.
So there's nothing to brag about, okay? But for him to have doing it with all 3 of these people, I'm just like, but what are their personalities? I'm like, are they smart? And you're just like, I don't care.
No. See, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They were all my friends. Some of them still kind of are.
See, stuff like that is so weird to me, though. If you, like, bone your friend and then still are friends with them, ugh.
Nah, it was a different time, different state, different environment.
Yeah.
Everyone was.
And also, this was the early 2000s, like mid 2000, like whatever. Like,
it was a good.
He's only a year older than me, so we're both. Well, I'm 20. I'm gonna be 28.
I was born back in 1996.
He might say though. No, I feel like though people that view this might think you're older because of like. You've been to so many places and other things that you talk about or that we've talked about already. Like they sound very
like an old man.
You sound very experienced.
I am.
You are experienced as a person. Like he tells me 1,000,000 times a day.
No.
Because I've only been from New Jersey. He's been around all the places.
It's the truth.
It's gonna be quite interesting, like I said, when we have our child because we're too. Like, the dichotomy of both of us. Like, me never really being outside of New Jersey other than road trips and very sporadic things where he's lived everywhere and he's experienced a ton of stuff. And he's also more personable than I am. I'm a very quiet, inner, like, I keep everything mostly to myself. If I'm out, I don't really go out of my way to talk to people. You, on the other hand... You talk to anybody, you don't really care.
I've always been good at associating with people, like talking to them and socializing.
Thing that we haven't really been doing lately because we live so close to where we work now and things like that, is that we used to take the train, and I wasn't with him on the train the one time, but you met that boxer.
Oh, that's right.
Like, this is what I mean by he talks to, like, random people, and like even I know it was by chance that he was on the train with this person, but like he had a whole conversation with like a retired boxer.
Yeah.
Like I would have never did that. I would have sat next to him and been like, "Oh wow, that guy's a retired boxer," and just like went about my day. But he like actually talked to me.
What was his name? He gave me his phone.
Yeah, I don't remember. He has a picture of him actually.
Jesse Boston. Jesse Boston.
Yeah.
That was his name. Jesse Boston is his name. Let me see if I can find the photo. This was Jesse Boston. Like, you look at his face now and look at the photo. His teeth are the same. Like, well, he was missing a couple, but the bottom that were still there, I looked at the photo and I was like, this is Jesse Boston. And also he had, like, his
also
ring.
It's very niche, like, Trenton is not very large.
Yeah, that's
like in the grand scheme of the United States, if you say you're from Trenton, New Jersey, people really don't know where that is.
I got the picture. I don't know if they'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
Jesse Boston on the train. He was nice enough to
his hands look humongous. Have you met anybody else that's like famous?
Yeah, Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Randy Mullen and Bob Berquist.
School, right?
He went to my school.
Oh.
One of the schools I attended was called Gene Farb Middle School. This is in San Diego. And when he was younger, he is also like me. One of his parents, I forget, I think it was his father, was in the Navy. And he lived in the military housing that I lived in, which was called, what the hell was it? Oh, Murphy Canyon, which was right up the road from Qualcomm Stadium. If it's still there, they might have torn it down. I haven't been there. Anyway, he lived there. He attended the same middle school I attended to, Gene Farb Middle School. And I guess years later, they did a ESPN homecoming thing, right? Mm-hmm. And we were all, if you were bad, I had to be good for like 3 months. Because if you were bad or got rid up or whatever, you were not allowed to go to the ESPN thing. I remember there were these pink slips we had to take home and have signed, and then we'd have to bring them back, and then each one had like a check for each of the month. Like if you got the check, you could go to the next thing.
Alex didn't go.
Alex went. Surprisingly. We really wanted to meet these people at the time because just that.
Let him meet Tony Hawk every month. Maybe he'll
where we lived too in Murphy Canyon housing, before he had done this ESPN thing, I guess when he first got rich, he came back to Murphy Canyon and personally designed and built in his own skate park at one of the military housing baseball fields next to it.
Oh, that's so cool.
You guys ever hear or look it up? It's called D'Amato Skate Park in the Murphy Canyon military housing. I think it's still military. It could be something different, but I know D'Amato Skate Park's still there. And he built, funded, and designed the whole thing. Did it out of his kindness because that was his community at one point, so he came back. And the ESPN thing was cool because not just did he come, but he brought his wife and at the time one of his children.
You know, I
shook Tony Hawk's hand. Alex got
Did they get a picture?
No. Alex did on his Razor cell phone, but this was long ago.
Throwback Razor. I remember when I had one.
He got the cool phones. Everything he had, I got. Everything that he had, I got his.
Because he was. I feel like he was. What's the word? Not badder.
He was worse. He was worse. Yeah. But it depended. I forgot to mention Randy Mullen and Bob Berquist was also there.
Bob Berquist was familiar.
I forget which one does what, but one of them's another pro skater, and I think the other one was like a pro BMXer. And I may be botching Randy Muller, no, it was Randy Mullen.
These were all in California?
Yeah.
I was going to say, that sounds like a very, like, the BMX and everything sounds very California.
But they were just friends, and they were there, I guess. They did a couple of tricks. They had set up an entire half pipe, like a big motherfucker, like huge. Set it up, and fucking this Tony just doing like all these tricks, and then the other guy did some, the bike guy did some, and it was pretty neat.
Okay, so now that we are going to become parents, I know this is not going to happen because he unfortunately is disqualified from joining any of the branches of the military unless something has changed, but I think he's actually at the cutoff age now, so it doesn't really matter.
Still 30.
Really? 30? I thought it was 28.
Thought it was 30 for Army.
Oh, well, I mean, they do have new different things, but you're not going to join, is what I'm saying.
If I can, like, if we go to war, yeah, I'm
No, I'm saying, like, would you, if the cutoff age was higher, and you could get a waiver.
I would have.
You would?
I would have, yeah.
No, but
that was my whole dream since I was a kid. And
but I'm saying you probably can, is what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. You're not going to.
No, I can't. If I was to, I'd be doing some BS.
That's what I mean.
Like being a desk guy. I don't.
Shade. The shade.
I'm sorry. I don't really give a shit. I'm sorry. You were a desk jockey, bro. Like, doesn't.
Anyhow.
I respect it all. I respect everyone that joined and could join. Good for you, man. I wanted to. It's well on my way. And then severed the bottom part of my foot. And now my foot looks like a Frankenstein claw.
Yeah. It's pretty messed up. But anyhow, okay. What I was getting at was, so you're not, period. You're not going to join the military is what I'm saying. But you yourself were a child that had military parents.
Yep.
So now, knowing that's not going to happen for our kid, though, is that something, though, like, hypothetically? Like, would you have ever did that for, like, would you think that would be good for your children?
To join?
Or, like, from your own experience, would you put your kids through that?
To join?
No, like them being a child with you in the military.
Yeah,
or, like, both of us in the military.
Of course. Why not? If I could have, I would have.
You would have?
Yeah, because...
But do you think that it would have had an effect on them, like, negatively? Because, like,
there's
I don't know, the moving and everything?
There's always negative effects when you're separated from your parents. Always. Things will happen to you. You'll experience things. There's people outside talking.
Oh.
But yeah, there's a lot that goes on with that. But in the outcome, in the grand scheme of things, I'd have to say that it's probably better for children to grow up that way, because of the fact that most people won't even let their kid talk to another kid or hang out with another kid. Mm-hmm. That's not a part of their, like, life, intermediate life. Mm-hmm. Till they're like, they're talking and walking, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. When you move around and you grow up in that, you have nothing else to do, so you have to find ways to communicate. If you want a friend, you gotta learn how to be social. So you
think it teaches them skills that they otherwise might not have, or it might be difficult for them.
Life skills, experience.
Also, side note, hi Miranda, if you watch this, because I know you follow my stuff. I can't wait to meet you.
I can't wait for you two to meet. She's like my little sister, my little buddy.
I'm so excited.
I miss her.
Also, I tell him all the time, you're so cute.
Yeah, she does. Her and her little baby bottom. You remember that there, baby bottom? I still remember you, baby bottom.
But yeah,
hopefully she tanned those cheeks, man. You need a tan on them bitches. I'm just joking, man.
She looks tanner than me.
Yeah, but her butt cheeks aren't. I mean, at the time, I don't know. Maybe you've been tanning. I don't know. You go around eating booty tanning. I don't know. Yeah, I miss her so much. She's a cool cat.
She's gonna be like the unofficial, because like we're not religious people.
Neither
the unofficial, official God mom.
I mean, me and her have spoken about, like, God and stuff like that. She believes in a God, yeah, but,
yeah,
different version. Yeah, I told them that I was ROTC. So I did ROTC right over in Palmdale, California, and we had this simulator. It was a flight simulator, and it was donated by Pete Knight. And there's also a school called Pete Knight over there too. But Pete Knight, the foundation, because Pete Knight, I'm pretty sure he's dead now.
I don't even know who that is.
Pete Knight flew around the world the fastest back in like 1970 something. He was like a Air Force guy, and then he retired and became like a test prototype pilot.
Craft carriers and stuff like that, I would never go near.
Yeah,
terrifies me.
Pretty scary. I've gotten lost in a few.
I don't like cruise ships either. I've been on a ton of cruises, but the thing is, being on the cruise ship is fine, but I hate those funnels. They freak me out. And then if I'm outside of the cruise ship, looking at the cruise ship, I have like a phobia of all of that. Or like ships underwater, that freaks me out.
I've never taken a cruise, but I've been on 2 cruise ships, dropping people off and showing them to their room.
Oh, okay.
And my friends, and they'll be like, "Bye-bye," that they're gonna fucking depart. I gotta go.
Now you can't even do any of that stuff.
Well, back then you could.
I know before you could go on cruise ships and all you needed to do was your birth certificate and stuff to go to like islands and everything. Now you need like a passport or a passport card.
Oh no, yeah. I was talking more about just dropping your friend.
No, I know. I'm just saying how different it is now.
But if they do like cabin checks and
you used to be able to go in the airport and like bring people, and now you can't. Like in Oki, when I was there, my ex was able to bring me up to like the counter and stuff. But I know here after 9/11, like you can barely go in the airport at all. Like, if you're not supposed to be there.
Both of the ones I went on were called Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
Carnival, yeah.
That's the one my mom used to bring us on.
You know, me and Sam used to own stock in Norwegian cruise lines. You remember when the stock market crashed and everything was dirt cheap? We plundered all that money like idiots. Like, we took it up and we spent it all. As we'd get it, we'd spend it. So when the stock market crashed, there were all these things. This was when COVID hit. All the first time, and everyone was
my
freaking.
ex was buying Doge and all that stupid crap.
AMC, IMC, any theater, any cruise line, anything, amusement park, everything was so cheap.
Yeah.
And we were idiots because we should have sat on it because we didn't know that it would have came back. We didn't know that anything was coming back. We thought shit would have closed down and new shit would have opened. That was how my mind was working. But we were buying like Norwegian cruise line stocks and blah blah blah.
It was so cheap.
A lot of these ones they dropped and plummeted,
and then they skyrocket right back up.
Till the second wave, right before the second wave, we sold, but we should have held because the second wave, if we would have gone through that and just let our stocks plummet. And then after the third wave, and then everyone was like, after the third wave, this is nothing. It's just a flu now. And if I had kept it, man, we wouldn't be living in place right now.
Well, that's like, as awful as my mom is, and like I've talked about her a couple times on this channel, he already knows like how bad she really is. You guys don't, but my mom is a super awful narcissist. But like I said, she would bring us on a lot of vacations when we were younger. I found out as an adult from, family members that the reason she did this is because it was all my dad's money, which she was mostly, she was mostly spending his money and then saying he didn't do crap for us. But, like, all the money that she bought us clothes and stuff, it was his money. And, also, she's smart. Hi, Fred. Mom had a ton of stocks, specifically Harley and Disney. And she had a lot of them because she also had stocks of Acme because she worked there. And so anyway, she had these since I was little. And my grandfather, the messed up thing actually is her dad, the good grandfather, left me and my sister stocks that were supposed to be ours when we got older. And my mom sold them or did whatever she did with them. She never gave us the money that we were supposed to get. But all of these stocks, a lot of them she kept. And then when my parents divorced, to be spiteful to my dad, she sold them all off. Like an idiot. To be like, I don't have anything, because she didn't want my dad to get nothing. And now, Disney, for instance, right after COVID, skyrocketed. Like, she's dumb. She could have had a lot of money. She only got a few $1,000s out of it, because she wanted to be a spiteful little shit.
Well, me and Sam, we needed the money at the time, so that's why we cashed out pretty cheap. Dumb idea again, but I mean, I didn't know it was coming back. I saw a profit and I was like, sell. If we don't do it now, it could go back to zero.
I mean, if you waited, I guess it would have been good, but like, do you think about it too? Like, now how things have like panned out, I think it's good that you guys sold it and had fun with that money.
Yeah, me too. We did.
Anyhow, I think we're just having a conversation at this point, so I'm gonna wrap up the video.
Sorry, guys, I'm a bit of a rambler.
I am too, which is really bad because we both ramble. Interview / life conversation between me and Jay Long Dong Silver.
Jay Long Dong Silver.
Like I said, this is not going to come out for a while. You're going to be seeing this later because I have a lot of videos that I want to put out, but I have not announced my pregnancy to you guys, and you'll probably see more of Jay on my channel. I want him to interview me next, so I don't know. This has been an interview, rambling conversation, unscripted again. With Jess and Jay And Yessie's here in spirit. Hopefully she'll be here eventually. Not for one of these videos, of course, because this is not kid-friendly. But hopefully you see me next time with her and our little baby. What is something that you're looking forward to becoming? Because he's going to be a first-time parent.
Looking forward to teaching him strength, martial arts, and I just can't wait to just carry him around in one of those little things on my chest.
Baby carrier.
Yeah. I mean,
what is something like as a baby you can't wait for? That, I guess, yeah.
I want to feed him. I want him to be next to me, like anytime I'm home. I just want him. I want him to be right there. Yeah, but yeah, I'm just really excited because I always wanted a little boy. I've always. Well, not always. So I take that back. I used to hate children, and I used to swear that I'd never have one of those. Now I'm having my own now, and I'm happy about it. You know, I never thought I'd be whizzed out, real happy, and I'm just ready to do everything. Push them around in a little cart, you know, feed them some slop. How children like. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to feed them slop like bad food.
Isn't he so dreamy, guy?
I'm just saying, like, pea mash and banana mash, that's slop.
I'm really excited because I had never foreseen myself being a boy mom, but now I'll have a boy and a girl. So I get like the best of both worlds. But yeah, I never seen myself being a boy mom, but I am really excited. I'm more excited that he's excited. Like, this excitement was not shown with my last relationship. We're both excited it's a boy. I'm excited to see how Yessie interacts with her little brother. She's really excited. I've been showing her. She understands that I'm having a baby. I'm so excited for, like, to meet his friends and, like, you know, because I've never met any of his friends. They all live far away. I've never met a lot of his family because they all live far away too. So I'm really excited to have the baby and be able to interact with his friends and have them, you know, see the baby because he's the only one in his family that doesn't have kids yet. So yeah, that's what we're excited about.
Thanks for letting them know. Yeah, I am the last.
Well, no, it's not like he's like, oh my god, he's so ugly. Nobody wants to have babies with him. It's just he waited a long time.
I didn't ever want any. That's why. And
I didn't want kids at first either, and I definitely was not expecting to have a second kid. But yeah,
it was mostly, I'd say, all the women that I was with. I mean, some of them I could have saw having children with, but a lot of them, like, I just didn't see that they could be mothers. Like, some of them are mothers now, and I'm not going to name names, but some of them really aren't the greatest mothers, and maybe shouldn't have been mothers, and that's messed up to say, because all life is precious. I agree with that. I just feel like certain people shouldn't have been parents.
I agree, because my mother herself should not have been a mother.
Well, I'm glad she was, because you're here. But I don't know. I'm just happy that my life led me to here. And, you know, us having a child together, having a son together, I just glad that we are.
Yeah. I'm really excited for what not only I can't speak. The rest of the year is going to bring, 2025, that's when we're recording this. But, yeah, no, I'm really excited for the future, and, I mean, clearly a baby is a lifelong commitment, so I'm really excited that, you know, we're starting essentially a new life. We're starting kind of over, and we're moving forward, and it feels really good, because both of us have had, our struggles, and, yeah, well, I'm super excited, and I think this is a really good place to end the video, and hey, maybe we'll look back in a couple of years from now or whatever. Maybe this will be around when our kid is older. I don't know, but yeah, so this is where we stand right now. So I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye.